Good morning, dolls, and welcome to Little Gretchen's workshop. So I know this part or this frame seems a little bit familiar because it's a similar process as when I was creating the fresh fish, and I will leave a link in the description if you haven't seen that video. But today I'm creating fried fish. And although I'm going about it in a very similar way as far as the shape, I use a totally different color of clay. Now, the clay that I used when I made the fresh fish was a light color that was translucent, but this color is a brown opaque, very similar to the shade that I used when I made the fried chicken. Now I'm shaping the fish again the same way. Now, if you dolls are wondering why I'm using the entire body of the fish, including the tail, when I was growing up, we didn't cut the tail off. We fried the entire fish. Now, the fish is totally gutted and we removed the face, but the rest of the body is all fair game. And when it's fried just right, the tail is really crunchy. Now, dolls, I want you to take note that I'm using the exact same shaping technique, and here I'm just kind of feathering out the part where the tail is, and everything is the same. Now, if your preference is filleted fish, feel free to make yours look like fillets. Now, when it comes to the surface or the texture of the outside of the fish, I'm going to use a totally different technique because I want it to look as though the scales have been removed. Now, if this is your first time trying to make fried fish, just like with the raw fish, give yourself some grace, take your time. It's only clay. I just want you to be patient with yourself and give yourself more than one try, because even if you're gifted, you still have to practice. So allow yourself multiple opportunities by doing several, and you should improve with each one. And if you don't, take a break and try it again. Now this is the part where things really begin to switch up. So I'm splitting it down the side to make it look like the insides have been removed and it's been left open. Now when you're splitting the fish open, be really careful and cut it kind of thin so that piece won't look thick and clunky. And again, this is one of the reasons why I tend to make multiples of things, because it gives me more than one try. And when I work on the tile like this, I can do several without having to stop. And I can bake them all on the tile together, which when I'm done, I'll have enough to make more than one setting or more than one plate. Now, dolls, I apologize. I didn't show it in this frame. Here I am splitting the other pieces of fish, but to add texture to make it look like it's breaded, I did use that wire brush tool to the surface of the fish. Now here I zoomed in a little bit closer so you can see the surface of the fish, and I want to show you really quick the color paint that I used. Now I'm going to mix this paint with some gesso because it gives it kind of a grainy texture, which is going to lend to the illusion of it being breaded with cornmeal. Now I'm sure any brand of gesso will work. I used the Liquitex, but I ruined the label. That's why I had to write it on. Now when I mix the gesso with the paint, it's going to make the paint considerably lighter, which is going to lend to the golden look that cornmeal or fried fish has after it's done. Now, I really like using this brown color clay as my base. Now, I want you to pay attention that I'm kind of patting it or dabbing it, not necessarily brushing it. And you're really going to see why I use this light color as my base or foundation color before I start adding all my spices and seasoning. Now you want to take the time to coat all the sides, the tail, inside, the split part, because depending on how you stage it, you want everything to look uniform. Now the one thing that's kind of fun about this project, when you're doing the paint job, you don't have to worry about everything being dry before you move on, because this process really does work better while your fish is still damp. Now, dolls, I've got this lovely prism glitter that I was gifted, and I think it'll really work well with the fried fish, because to me, when fish is fried really, really good, it almost seems to sparkle a little bit. So while the surface of my fish is still a little bit damp, I'm going to sprinkle a little glitter on it. Now, I'm not using a lot, and this glitter is super fine, so I think it's going to give the right effect. And I know adding glitter to my fish may seem a little bit radical right now, but you'll see what I mean in a minute. Now, dolls, you know I like to layer colors, so I'm going to start out with a brown chalk pastel. I'm also going to use orange, and I have some eyeshadow that I like to use to color and shade my pieces as well. But before we do all that, I need to use a little bit of Mod Podge to keep the surface of my fish damp, so that my chalk pastel, seasoning, and eyeshadow will stick. And just like you did with the paint, you want to cover the front, back, and inside of the fish. So now it's time for the fun part. So here I am with my brown chalk pastel, and I'm just using my craft knife to scrape some off. And I'm literally acting as though I'm seasoning the fish. Now, dolls, when it comes to things like this, it's all relative. There is not exact science. You just have to look at it and observe it and see if it's taking on the look that's familiar to you. And just like I was creating the colors for the surface of the fried chicken, it's multiple layers of colors. It's not one flat shade. So that's why I'm using multiple layers of browns and golds and yellows and oranges. And I use a tiny bit of glitter because it almost seems to sparkle when it's fried just right. Now, dolls, I just happen to be using eyeshadows to color my polymer clay because my chalk pastels don't have that level of variety. The ones I'm using is the basic pack that I have left over from ninth or 10th grade art class. And all the colors are really basic. Now I chose the eyeshadow because the reddish color looks like paprika and the dark color looks like pepper. Now I am tapping my brush into my Mod Podge as I tap it into the eyeshadow before I put it on the fish because that first layer of Mod Podge is dry by now. Now, dolls, I have to admit I'm really tickled about how the fish turned out because I really wanted it to look distinctively different from the chicken because cornmeal has a totally different texture than flour or batter. And when you get to this point with the fish, you just want to look at each piece to see if you missed any spots. Now, when everything was all done, I had dusted off my little silver platter and wanted to just go ahead and play around with everything. Now, I'm not gluing anything yet. I just wanted to lay the fish on the platter to just see if it was going to give the impression that I wanted it to give, and it absolutely does. And dolls, I truly enjoyed creating this video today, and I'm glad I made more than one because I'll be able to offer some of these items on my eBay store. And again, if you didn't know, Little Gretchen's is now on eBay. So when you get an opportunity, go ahead and visit my store, and you want to shop early for the best selection. Now, if this is your first time watching and you want to see more content like this, go ahead and subscribe, and always look for me on Mondays after 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And until next time, dolls, I'm looking forward to seeing you right here on Little Gretchen's Workshop. Bye-bye now, dolls.